Hello and welcome. It is the third day of August 2019. My name is Derek. This is the Money Charts channel. All bets, trades of the like within each his own risk and their own reward. 10:03 a.m. Eastern Time. At least it will be in 13 seconds from now. From the recording of this video, we're looking at Bitcoin dominance to start, which we can see we have this high near 70% calculated by TradingView. If you want a better calculation, maybe I think you might go to Coin Market Cap, and then you can see, well, they'll give you the number there, but it's calculated by telling you the Bitcoin market cap divided by the entire cryptocurrency market cap. But price action has been making these higher highs and higher lows. There was a deeper correction from mid-May up until mid-June, so that was a full month. This was like about a week, this or a month or so. This high was June 28th, breaking out on July 8th. So 2 weeks. This was about a month. July 15. No, to July. Yeah, 2 weeks. So 2 weeks here, 2 weeks there, 1 month here. And before that, it was a long, long, long sideways correction from September 2018 all the way to April. And before that, well, this thing was going up from the May 2018. This level here. This was everything declining, but everything else declining more. A lot of Bitcoin going sideways, holding 6,000, and it was other coins going down. Now there was two fantastic altcoin rallies that I've been a part of, and this, of course, was the last big one. And this we can see Bitcoin dominance topping right around December the 8th, 2017. And really, for the most part, it was right around December the 12th, is this thing, December 11th and 12th, and it was breaking down. And that's when the altcoins were just kicking ass. Now, Bitcoin had topped at this point. Bitcoin was at the 20,000 roughly around the second week of December. Hasn't been to that number since. But all the altcoins were just really taking off up until Christmas and the New Year and January 5th, January 8th, just amazingly high against the dollar and against Bitcoin. But that was the last time. And those prices are significantly down, mostly all of them, against the dollar and Bitcoin ever since, especially against Bitcoin. And then we have well, maybe against a lot of them are down bad against both. But anyway, then the last one, or the first one rather, the last one I just talked about. This occurred way back in here, but it completed. We can see a bottom on May the 17th. And this is one of the top problems with a chart. And Fibonacci is so difficult for me to trust and figure out, for that matter, which is why I have a hard time trusting it. When this thing is capped at 100%, which is not like how it's not how price action of stocks and cryptos and everything else works. Just a base number, but that really can go up infinitely. But with that being said, what was going on before then? For me, I started trading roughly around February 20th, 22nd. So I was getting in here right around this point when the ratio was 95.29 or so percent. So for value wise, it was all Bitcoin. But there was a lot of coins on the market. Even back here at this high at 97, we're talking 2016, Poloniex and Bittrex just filled with coins. And then the monstrous move happened where prices were just going huge gains against Bitcoin, lasting all of March, all of April, and into May. So 2.5 months or so, the thing was all altcoins. So will we ever see another one again? And this is like a whatever move. Let's now bring this back to current time. I'm betting that it will. If it doesn't, well then unfortunately that will not be good. But if it does, fortunately that will be very good. Risk versus reward. Let's move on to Bitcoin in at a little over 10,800. And this Fibonacci line at 98.14, but even more 9,300, which is just sick to say, is a key level. Um, anyway, And the reason why I say it's sick is because for the last little while I've been listening to a lot of commentary from Samantha Jane, who has a cryptocurrency channel. She talked a lot before this low even hit about a bottom area at 93. Now, we'll see. Not highs and lows are known after the fact. It's not after the fact yet for these series of lows to be that of kilos. It could become another hit of it. We could have another test of it. It's actually up very decently that it needs a significant decline to go back to this point, meaning it would need to decline about 800 plus 7, 1,500 points. That's about 13, 14%. But it's not like cryptos can't do that in 2 hours or 2 days. It's but what we have is we have on the daily chart we're declining from this 18 in here. Retest of this level, test this band, test this, and no more further declining. And then this green candle up that takes us to the 18 highs, which we didn't resist. And now it's just breaking free with excitation above it. Hasn't gotten well above it, but it has, because the 18 average of highs on the daily now, which is starting to rise, is in at 10,289, which is a decline of like 520 points at this point. So it needs to have like a 5% decline just to get to it. So intraday, that's a very significant move even for Bitcoin, or for Bitcoin, maybe another way of saying it as well, because Bitcoin is lower volatile compared to most other alternate coins. Still, this is telling us that yeah, it's looking like we're going to possibly break out, but it's been down so much from this line and for so long that it's got a long ways to go just to get to this close to $13,000 Fibonacci high. And it could be one of those spots. It could grind its way up. It could go there fast. It might not even get there anytime soon or ever at all. I, of course, think that it will. And the story and how it does, again, does it do it fast? Does it do it slow? I don't know. And I really don't care right now to try to guess. But when markets are doing what they're doing, I can always adjust to the current message of the market for where we stand today. And where we stand now is 10,817 on the 8-hour term time frame. The price action had this beautiful uptrend, resisted the 18 highs here, got above it barely, but successfully corrected very well within the 18 for little more than about a dozen or a couple more periods in here, breaking out. And this is a failed breakout that was a phenomenal breakout. Getting above this high, several periods, close to previous, but then ultimately coming down and just starting a decent bear market run, resisting the 18 around the 12th of July, resisting the 18th on the 15th of July, and then ultimately coming down to about 91.25. And then we have resistance at the 18, trying to get above it. I mean, not as nice as this, how it got significantly above it, which is what this didn't do. This had significant time, showing strength at the 18 highs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, before it would ultimately break down. And then trying to get above here, nothing more than resistance. And then trying to get above here, nothing more than resistance, but support came down here on this 12-hour stamp on the 30th to near the 18 closes, and then closing at the highs here and getting above it. And since it's got above it, it has stayed above it. So on excitation, 3 small candles down, big move. After the big move, 2 small candles up, sideways, and a down correction here. And now a move up. And so far, with 1 hour and 47 minutes, it's just pausing this last previous move. And what is that move? Well, let's take a look at that on the single hour. Well, the single hour seed yesterday at 1800 hours having this move go up until here and then correcting it sideways. 3-hour time frame, all that stuff. Just a nice little bullish setup that's been going on. And when we take a look at this on a more longer term time frame, the triple day is in continuation of this correctionary mode, which came to support here for the first time on June the 30th. The failed breakout was here. So the consistent support started July the 12th, and here we are August the 3rd. That's a little over 3 weeks of just going in here. It has held and stayed above the 18 average of lows, and it's nearing the 18 average of highs right now, which is in at about 9,810. But when we look at this on a weekly term time frame, this is where it gets very, very interesting because it needs to get above going back here, it needs to get above the 11.3, basically 12,000 to get excitation here. But it's already done that on the weekly. And 12,000 in here would be a clear breakout above because it's just barely starting to do that. The 18 average of highs is coming in at 10,346. So it's above it, albeit barely when you look at this with eyesight. But seeing it get up to this little level here, well, now we'll be looking at, okay, a retest of this previous high between really the mid 13,000s is that key level. And when you have a situation of you come down to this 3,100, you spend some time between 3,100 and 3,900 for a significant period from the U.S. Thanksgiving, we'll say, or the third week of November to the start of April. So all of December, January, February, March, plus a week and a half. That's over 4 months. And then it had a half quarter-assed correction. I was going to say a half-assed move, but it wasn't even that. It was less effort, or not as much needed. So just pretty much a good small correction here, and this is the best correction and biggest correction that it's had. But after it does it, what happens breaking each level? Resistance level, come up here. Then you break this resistance level, you come up here. So now, in the situation of breaking this key resistance level, what do we got left? Well, maybe it might make a lower high to 20,000. Maybe, but technically speaking, if that's 16,000, you got to think would be conservative. 20,000 would be a pretty good run, and anything north of 20,000, well, that's a pretty spectacular move for a break of resistance at 14. And on the monthly chart, let's take a look at last month, which was an inside month. It was a pause month from two, just okay, whatever, rallies, and then three good ones. And okay, so we paused the three good rallies, and well, it's only 3 days in so far, but just early indications, of course, going higher. It's a 7.22%, which is like, yeah, nothing, because these other up moves, this was 65, this was 48, this was 54, this was 39. Even these two low ones here were 11% and 8% respectively. And then these ones here, 28, 62, and 26% up. Bitcoin Cash, I'm going to take a look at that, then we'll do Theta, but it's doing something that not many coins are doing today, and that's actually having a gain against Bitcoin. Right now up 1.6% after coming up to this high, but I mean, a lot of these altcoins have been getting their asses kicked, to say the least. But when these current things are ready to go, they can go really fast. Let's take a look at the rally it had in 2018, where we went from 23.6 up to this 52 and fast. What was the next one? How about this? Going from this level to this. So good moves, especially the last 2 days. And then this was a failed rally attempt. There hasn't been any since. We had this sharp move here, but when the next one happens, it'll probably be pretty sharp. So as far as reversal of trend, stage 1, band flatten out. Stage 2, resistance reestablished. That is established at the 0.034814 mark. Stage 3, come back to the band. That's where it is now. Stage 4 is break established resistance. For me to see it's attempting to do stage 4, I need to see the market get pretty much around 329 handle or just a clear break or noticeable break above the 18 average of highs. But breaking above that number, clear break especially, 35.3 area. Yeah, I would be saying, yep, or bull market territory. And when these things go bullish, they tend to have pretty good and fast gains. Now let's go to theta, and because I got the Pro Plus, I can do mathematics on here, and their log scale is not, it leaves a lot to be desired. So this is what it looks like as it is. I'm going to pause this, type in multiply 100 million. And I know it looks a little bit different, but regardless of the fact, let's take a look at it from this point. 1175 and on the daily term time frame. We had this multi-hit low at about 928. Is this going to be a retest of it and a break of it? Maybe yes to both of them. Of course, if the second one is yes, the first one have to be yes as well. Whether how it does on that test, well, it's going to ultimately fail if the second one becomes yes. But what we've seen here, first we hit this interesting, unusual buying pattern where a couple times they bought it up pretty nicely in a span of about 20 minutes. First to 1450, then to 1380, about 1380. And from that point, price came back down, but it didn't come back down to here or even close to it, and hasn't even since. Rather, we had about 4 days of this congestion, a leg higher, which was supported, retested, barely extended higher, and then extended again. But big red candle down, pause, and another big red candle down forming. This one was down 10.5%. Right now it's down 6 and a third. Thus, the 18 average, it's down below it. Reversal of trend, it's stage one, now attempting to do stage two because I need to see a clear break below it. But if I'm to say, okay, this looks bearish, it's time to sell, I'm thinking, okay, you're selling 1175 when you could have sold 14 here. And I mean, this is where it was back in here. There were lots of opportunities, even if you sold 1285 some. So I'd rather sell coins, of course, on the way up. I'm not trading against Bitcoin, but there's a lot of opportunities, especially when we look at this on the shorter term time frame. Switching over to the 8-hour chart, this was the unusual buying. So for the entire time since then, it was successfully correcting the 18. There was a little bit of weakness on the 18 lows here on this point, but there's that failed breakout point in here consolidating for 2 periods on the 18 of highs, but ultimately having this big one down, and we've been resisting it. But what have we done since then? Well, we'll put in a little bit of support line here. We'll probably see this more clearly when we do 3-hour, 1-hour, and shorter. But as I look at this, after this red moved down and continued to establish the support here, we have this rally attempt at 1279 and then falling down, and now we're breaking down below it. So to me, it seems as if we're ready for a new leg lower, and I'd have to think that it's probably going to be a little bit lower, maybe 1139 conservatively. But let's take a look at even more so on the shorter terms. The 4-hour, we can see it here that we had this correctionary mode, and even more for this failed breakout here as the price actually gets above it, it supports it, and then just this failed move, fast move. It's already had a fast move. Whether it's going to be bigger or not, or faster is another way of putting it. Well, time, of course, will only be able to tell within that. Single hour term, are we overextended to the downside? Not really, because I mean, at any time you could have a significant down move that's gonna come into play. If we had any support breaks to the downside, we kind of have. It looks like, which is just in here. So this thing is possible for a significant down move on the short term at any given time. But it is, of course, overextended to the downside. At any given time, this thing can go up. That's the main one right there. I mean, this could look as bearish as anything, and you have 1, 4, 5, 6, whatever periods on this that, oh my goodness, it just went up 20% in like 20 minutes or 4 hours or something. Of course, I'm definitely not predicting that, but they happen at any time. And my strategy doesn't need to predict it, of course. It's just going to react to it. A couple of days ago, I was selling theta like crazy. Now I've been starting to rebuy back it for the last day or so. Here's that little failed breakout attempted here. And then since this down move, we can see in this, it's by no means overextended to the downside because we've had four correctionary mode moves from this. That's how the market has reacted from this fact. And yeah, I mean, it could go either way. We could have an up move and come back to where we came from because it's definitely in dire need of coming back to so many different layers for where it came from. There's three that I've shown right there. And in conclusion, I'm going to go to two ratio charts. This one's interesting because I drew these lines in a long, long, long time ago, and I might have did it in a video, and I just have left them. And how just scribbly drawings have been great support and resistance is interesting. Interesting. It looks like Bitcoin, big Bitcoin Cash, as I mentioned on the outset, it's just doing very well compared to the rest of the class, and grading against the curve, that is. And in here we have this resistance, but what's up with this line in here? We'll take a look at in the hour. Yeah, these are the lines I drew in a while ago. I just decided to leave them. It was this. And I'm just amazed because I just thought, yeah, I'll just keep it in here. And I didn't comment on it a little while, but I gotta think there's a good chance that I drew this in one of the videos because most of the time I would. But it's a symmetrical triangle and it's attempting to break out of it. As far as its volatility, we have 2.8 up here, 3.9 there. Daily chart, when you have moves of going from 3 to 7 to 2.3, these are two coins I want long term, you might as well trade them together. But Bitcoin Cash and Theta, right now it's in at 2,704 almost. My last trade, that was 2 days ago at 2,500, where I sold Bitcoin Cash to buy Theta. But that's because at 2,300, on the same day, I would have ended up selling Theta to buy Bitcoin Cash. And well, it's only 200 different. It's close. If this thing, let's see, where do I have my alert on here? 8 hour. Well, we'll see as I do multiple time frames. 8 hour chart, failed breakout, failed breakdown. Now we'll start looking to breakout again. We'll see how it goes. 3 hour, just all the sweet volatility. This is what I love about the ratio trading is you're going to get a lot of the markets that are going to look like this. All of these highs and lows that you can, I mean, the volatility may be missed or lack desire. 2540 down to 2400. That's a big example. That's only like a few percentage points. So you're not going to take advantage of all of these moves. But in here, you got an area where it was easy to trade at 2675, and then it goes down to 23. And just a little bit of moves in here. So far up to 27 on the 1 hour time frame. There's my alert right there. So this would be telling me getting up here, okay, and I'm only, what's that, 2740? I'm only another 1.5%. It's like, okay, you know what? Maybe I should take some more Bitcoin Cash and turn it into Theta. And that's exactly what I would be doing. So we'll just let the market do what it needs to do. And that's all I can do. Thank you for tuning in and have yourself a great day. Bye bye.